This shiur is dedicated Le'ilui Nishmat, our dear friend Yitzchak Kadesh ben Devorah. The Zohar says, Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat, Psalms for the Sabbath day. Shevach Zeh, that Tehillim, that praise, the Zohar says, Amar Adam HaRishon, first man, Adam, Adam, yeah, and Eve, yeah, says when he was sent to exile out of Gan Eden, and then by doing so, the divine protection has been removed from him. He was sent out. So came the Shabbat and protected it. According to the Zohar, Shabbat is not just a day. Shabbat is an entity, is a thing. That when we say Boi Kala, Boi Kala, Boi Kala, Shabbat Malketa, we don't invite the day. We invite this spiritual power, energy, whatever you want to call this. It's called Shabbat. That, in a way, was a protection for Adam HaRishon. And it says, and Chachamim said that this praise, Ha'olam Ha'tachton Meshabeach La'olam Ha'elyon. The world, in this world, praises the world above. Hayom Hu Kulo Shabbat. The day itself is called Shabbat. That is Hamelech Sha'Shalom Shelo. The king, that peace and harmony is his. In Shabbat, everything is in its place. That's, in a way, one of the reasons we have to, besides the fact of setting up the fire and so on and so forth, but that's why on Shabbat, everything is prepared. You don't have to make anything. It's not just that you're not allowed to make the fire and so on and so forth. It's more than that. It's to understand what happens in Shabbat. What happens in Shabbat throughout the day is a remez. It's a hint for you that everything is prepared for you. That's why Shabbat you don't worry about everything. Everything is ready, everything is prepared, everything is cooked. You have nothing to worry about. So, V'zehu Mizmor Shir. That is praises, Mizmor Shir. Usually in Psalms it says Mizmor le David. Right, so David, Mizmor le'Asaf, Mizmor livnei Korach, and so on and so on. So you know who said it. Here, we don't know who said this Mizmor, right? So it says V'lo katuv mi amar oto, as we already established. To what? Leyom, to the day of the of Leyom HaShabbat, to the day of Shabbat. There is, what does it mean Leyom HaShabbat? Since we say it is to the upper world, Leyom Shekulo Shabbat, to the day that is the whole entire day is called Shabbat. Therefore, it is the superior day, the upper day, the highest of all days. Shabbat HaElyonah. It's not the Shabbat that we have here. Shabbat in the spiritual world, the eternal Shabbat. By the way, the Midrash tells us something a little different. The Midrash tells us that when Cain was sent, after he did what he did, killing Hevel, he got the sign of Cain on his head, and after years, it says Cain was walking, and Adam sees him, and Adam says, "Hey Cain, what's going on? You're not dead?" He says, "No." He said, "Well, how is it possible?" He said, "I made tshuva, I repented." So then, according to the Midrash, then Adam says, Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat. In other words, not only for Yom HaShabbat, Mizmor Shir for the tshuva itself. The Zohar, he takes a different approach. We'll go with this now because that's what we're doing. And what is Shabbat? Zeh Shabbat v'zeh Shabbat. This is Shabbat, this is Shabbat. Shabbat here, Shabbat there. Right? So what's the difference between this Shabbat here and Shabbat there? What's the difference? And the Zohar says, Ela, Shabbat stam, zoi Shabbat shel knisat Shabbat. Just regular Shabbat is when the Shabbat enters. Yom HaShabbat, the day of Shabbat, that is Shabbat shel Mala. Now you might understand what we say is Shabbat Me'en ha'olam haba. Shabbat is like the world to come. Just regular Shabbat is the entrance of Shabbat. Yom HaShabbat is already representing something much higher. That's another reason why on Shabbat, on the day, the Kiddush is less involved with what we need to do because it happens by itself. The entering of Shabbat, we need to sanctify it. We need to do something. But once you enter into the day, the Kedusha goes up, you don't need to do so much. That's the representation of Yom HaShabbat, which is the superior world. That over there, there's no Kiddush. It's done by itself. V'zeh Yom, v'zeh Laila. So therefore, there is the day, and the other one is the night. And it says, V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat. When it says, V'shamru, and they kept the Shabbat, they guarded the Shabbat, it refers to the night, Zelaila, which represent a feminine attribute. Zechor, the Shamor, Vezachor. Zachor et Yom HaShabbat, remember, Zachor milshon, remember, but Zachor milshon, also Zachar, male attribute. V'zeu Yom, and that's the day. Sod HaZachar. Umishum ze ne'emar mizmor shir liyom HaShabbat, a praise for the day of eternal harmony. That's why the Kedusha is so great at Mincha, because that's when everything comes, time of Mincha, when everything comes together. So Shabbat is very important, not only in keeping it, I kept Shabbat. It's beyond that. Shabbat is, you might understand, how things come together in a harmonious fashion. It is difficult to keep Shabbat to certain people. It's difficult to keep Shabbat for the same reason it's difficult for people to learn Torah. To learn Torah. And the reason why it's difficult to learn Torah, because at the beginning, or Shabbat to that matter, at the beginning is hard. You say, 1 second, I'm such a smart person. I have degrees upon degrees. I have accomplished. I did this, I did that. This is not for me. So it's hard for you, and you give up. He says, listen, Rabbi, with all due respect, for me to start reading now, Rashi, this is not for me. I don't know how to read. This is not for me. I need to go somewhere better. They give me lectures, and it doesn't work like this. Why you need to work hard and you need to dismantle your ego when you learn Torah, and to that matter to keep Shabbat? Very simple. Most of us, and I don't want to sound like Freud, lehavdil, but when we are born and we grow up, we are all materialistic, maybe because of the need to survive. So it's been into the baby that the need to survive takes an overwhelming role in his life. It's all about me, survival, eat, and so on and so forth. Therefore, it's all chomri. It's all materialistic. Why? Because you need to survive. But when the kid gets a little bit more brains and more intellect, we try to introduce him to Torah. Torah represents the ultimate spiritual. So in order that there is a clash in you, there is a clash of the spiritual over the physical. It's not to overcome it completely. It's to create a harmony. It's not that we're going to let the id out of control and the battle of the ego and the superego. Again, I don't want to sound like Freud, but you know what I'm saying. The point is that the person needs to be able to function in harmony. That the day has a night and it has a day, and both are important. And day and night are continuous act. And when you finish the day, the night comes, and that's another day, and that's another cycle, and that's another cycle. That's the continuity a person needs to do when he learns Torah. That's why it's hard to learn Torah. But that's the whole thing. And people say, I learned Torah. I don't feel, this rabbi is kind of boring. This thing is boring. Gemara is boring for me. I want to learn Kabbalah. I want something. You don't understand why. Because the reason, for me is boring. What do you mean it's boring? It's not that it's boring. The problem is not with the Torah. The problem is not with the rabbi. The problem is with you. You did not tasted the sweetness of Torah. The sweetness of Torah. Why? Because you are all Homer. You're all materialistic. You cannot be all completely spiritual, then you'll be an angel. We need to find the balance between the two. The same thing on Shabbat. What do you mean? I need to let go? I am. But the rabbis? Who are the rabbis? They're controlling. Who this? It's not. It's Shabbat to let a little bit of a spirituality into you. That's the clash. For a person who is completely materialistic, it's very hard to let go because he did not taste the sweetness of Shabbat. He did not taste the sweetness of Torah. If you don't know what chocolate is, and I was just, what is this? From a tree to fall, it's hard as thing. Look at this, it's all dusty and bitter. Look at the color, it's disgusting. It looks like dirt. Not a problem, honey, just 1 second. No problem. I'll take a half, don't you dare. No problem. Just close your eyes. No, I'm not doing this. So I'll wait until you fall asleep. I'm going to take a little bit of great chocolate, 86% cocoa butter, so you can have a drink of whiskey after that. And you put it in your mouth and you go to, wow, what was that? That, my dear friend, was chocolate. It's the same thing for Torah. Allow this, but when you have, where are you full with yourself? You have a big ego. Big ego. Who is this guy to teach me? But I know, I got to teach a whole college. It's not that. When you are full of your ego, you're never going to be able to learn. So it's not the problem with the Rebbe, or the Gemara, or the text that you're learning, or how you're learning. It's the problem that you don't allow the sweetness to penetrate into you. So break it. The same thing on Shabbat. Torah and Shabbat, it's difficult for those who are full of themselves. Because it's in a way two opposites. It's the water and the oil. But sometimes we can make a nice soup. We make some water and oil and some other different. So that's exactly what it is. So if Shabbat is hard for you, it's because you didn't taste the sweetness of it. If Torah is hard for you, it's because you didn't taste the sweetness of it. Soften yourself by dismantling yourself. I'm not saying don't have an ego. I'm not saying don't have self-esteem. But right now you should have nothing so you could be able to build it up. It's like you enter boot camp with the ego of an egomaniac. And we need to push you into boot camp. And you're going to curse and you're going to cry and you're going to... But we need to allow you to build yourself with proper manner. That's the problem of this generation. In previous generations, people were like, kids were like a blank page where you write them in. You fill it in. The educators fills in how it should be. Today, we bombard the kids with information. We write so much Scrabble on the paper that in order to write something, I need to erase it. And when you erase it, it's not always good as it was before. But I tell you, there is a way to start it again. The way is to simply take a new book. Let's put this book to the side and let's start fresh. And yes, you can start fresh and every day. All you need to do is simply let go. Let go of yourself. Enhance your emunah. Let go of yourself. You're not going to fall. Don't climb on mountains, or don't go on a plane and jump without a parachute saying, I have emunah, Hashem is going to help me. You're going to hit rock bottom. But when you're on solid ground, don't think you're going to fall because Hashem is helping you. Hashem created gravity to hold you down. So let go. In other words, create a balance in your life. Once you create a balance in your life, you create yourself the path of Torah. But when you go from one extreme to the other, this is not Darka shel Torah. This is not Darka shel Torah. So, have emunah, and substitute, by the way, in order not to have any empty vacancies there, so you don't know what will come out and penetrate. Substitute your ego with emunah. Emunat Hashem and emunat Chachamim. And create yourself, again, a balanced work. In the Buddhist world, I think they take the path of least resistance. In the West world, it's all about aggressiveness, being aggressive, go-getter, go for the throat. In the Jewish world is walk in the golden path. Create a balance. Not that you just, go with the wind, whatever. Create a path for yourself and then walk with it, a balanced path. 2 feet, you know where you're going, you know where you came from. Allow yourself the sweetness, allow yourself the spirituality to come in. The sweetness of the Torah, the sweetness of the Shabbat. And b'zchut zeh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu would embrace us and would never let us down. Amen.
Amen.